Hello everyone and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. So last time we managed to get into orbit and we managed to kill our first Kerbal. Valentina re-entered the atmosphere and made contact with the ground going beyond the speed of sound, which isn't really ideal. But as we're playing Ironman, it is what it is. We have lost our first Kerbal. We will just have to be careful going forward. Now, I did get some nice research last time, and I want to spend this on our basic science pack, really so that we can get the Science Junior. The more experiments that we can put on, the faster we can advance down the track. So always like prioritizing those. Okay, so let's see what contracts we can pick up. Okay, so the game's trolling us a little bit. We've got a mission to return back to Kerbin from orbit. So yeah, we'll do that one. Got a mission here that we can just really quickly do just to test a engine while landed. So I'm just going to throw that one together. Literally just needs a swivel engine, and it just needs to be activated through staging. So it's not even a rocket that we're putting together, it is just testing whether the engine turns on. There we go, contract complete, and recover the vessel. Okay, so in that case, I think I'm going to pick up this mission. So we've got two tourists who want to have an orbit around Kerbin, so we should be able to do that, especially if we upgrade the facility so we can have more parts. Alright, so without the part limits, we can be a little more free with what we're doing here. Actually, I want to stick on the Science Junior. And we've also got this experimental storage unit, which collects science just like we were doing by getting the guy to EVA and get back in, but this way we don't need to EVA and get back in. Okay, and then we can stick in one of these large modules. Should still be able to land safely if we pack on enough parachutes. So I'm going to put two of those parachutes on either side. That should be enough, I believe. And then we're going to put on a couple of drogue boots, just so we can start slowing down so we don't end up in the same problem we had before. Put them on their own staging command. So we lost a fair bit of delta V just because we've really increased the weight of this thing, but that's fine, we've got more parts now, so we can just do the Kerbal thing and put on more boosters. You can also include some winglets in there to better stabilize us once we do jettison the boosters. And the boosters now get aerodynamic nose cones. So in theory this should have enough delta V to get into a low orbit. Do actually have a little bit spare, so I'm just going to put an extra fuel tank in the upper stage. Gives us a little bit more oomph. So this slightly upgraded design is the Coconut Mark II. We have changed a fair bit about it, but it's still decidedly a coconut launcher. Okay, Jebediah is the unlucky person taking control of this thing, and he's being joined by two tourists who haven't heard of what happened to the previous tourists, so that's all fine. And lastly, just before I forget, we probably don't need this, but better safe than sorry, we can put a heat shield on the bottom. Okay, otherwise we are all good and ready to grow. Okay, so SAS is on, thruster full, fingers crossed, and let's go. Okay, definitely not the most stable thing. It is now going out of control. Very much out of control. I need fins on the outside of this. Don't know if we're going to be able to salvage anything. Okay, that did reconnect slightly. Yes, we are massively out of control at this point. Definitely not an ideal injection into orbit. Okay, that was one disastrous launch. I need to watch the fuel very carefully here. I don't think we're going to be able to circularize, but let's do our best. No, not going to be able to circularize the orbit. I'm just going to burn, see how high we can, or see how far we can get. There we go. Yeah, let's turn us around a little bit and jettison that stage. Alright, we can conduct the material-based study, get a decent amount of science for that. Don't think there's anything else that we got new. Okay. That module is... we've taken the data from it, but we don't have a scientist, so we can't reset that. Alright, and then just point our heat shield towards home. Very difficult to control and re-entry. We're going to need to spin this. Try and distribute that heat a little bit. Okay, something big exploded. I think the science module's exploded, damn it. Yeah. And there's not really much I can do here. We're going to lose some parachutes, probably. And parachutes failed to deploy. Okay. This is not going well. Okay, so we can make a couple of adjustments. One, we're not taking Taurus this time. That significantly shortens the return segment. So stabilizer fins on the bottom there, so we have some kind of control in the lower atmosphere. And we also need to hire a... You're joking, we don't have enough money to hire anyone new. Alright, so instead what we're going to do is take Jeebus off on a short little hop mission to get enough money to buy another bloody crewman. So for now, Bill is going to be flying this thing, which is a slight problem because I won't have access to SAS, but we only need to travel a short distance and take a crew report. Put the science module on there so we can get extra science from wherever we end up. And otherwise it's just fingers crossed time. Okay, so we just need to get above this position here and take a crew report. So I've got it marked, so I just need to fly that way, so east and a little bit north. Should be able to do this, so fingers crossed. Forgot how slow Jeebus was without boosters. We're going to tip over. We are in trouble already. No. I don't know why parachutes are refusing to deploy. I just can't get any of the parachutes to deploy anymore. Okay, down to our last guy, down to very little money. Let's see if I can possibly get this to take off. So I've just stripped down the Jeebus down to its bare parts. I've put in a swivel engine, couple of fuel tanks. We just have to hope that we can actually get there in one piece. Okay, SS is not going to turn on, of course it's not, so I just have to do my best to fly this damn thing. Okay, I'm in the region, so crew report, keep crew report. Okay, we got the mission completed. Now just going to decouple us. That stage falls away. Drogue chutes have deployed for once. And conduct a material survey from here. Hooray, we didn't all die. On the bright side, since we've got a scientist here, we can remove the data, restore the data, and then take a new sample from the water. And board and recover. Okay, then we're just going to go ahead and repeat that mission, but with a different point that we're trying to get to. Heading in the opposite direction now, but plan is exactly the same. So let's go. Roll over aggressively towards the mountains, I suppose. Should be there soon. There we go. Quick. Crew report. Right, crew report. Okay, got it. We've landed in the Highlands. This is a new biome for us. So we can get all the new science. And if I can roll us over so we can get out the bloody door. Can EVA, take the data, can EVA report, and board again, and then get a new crew report. So we'll be bringing back some extra science as well. Okay, so for our new pilot, I'm going to pick up Jazer here. Most courageous, actually, there's Gerald. Didn't notice Gerald. So actually, Gerald here is slightly more courageous, so gets a higher G-force tolerance. So he's our new pilot. We need a courageous pilot to be able to brave the crazy shit that we've been doing. And we do need a little bit more money to launch the Coconut Mark II. Okay, so this design should get us into orbit and back. Cut down on the number of boosters, because we don't need that many now. We're not taking the Taurus to orbit, and we do have SAS back. So we'll just have to see how this goes. We really need to complete this mission. Really very much a do this or we lose. So let's see how this goes. We're using pretty much all of our money to launch this thing. To realise the reason why I've been having trouble is because these fins are not the controllable fins that I thought they were. We don't really have the money to... We've got the research to unlock the steerable fins, but we don't have the money to unlock it. But I think we can get around this by putting a swivel engine on instead of the Reliant that we've got here. Swivel engine is less powerful, but as the name implies, it can turn. So hopefully that will be enough. Put on the fins just for some added stability. Okay, staging is good. SAS is on. Fingers crossed. This thing does actually have some degree of steerability now, but is very welcome. Trying to pitch towards a 90 degrees. Okay, we're getting heat effects. And the engine. Okay, slightly bad. The rocket's connected with us. We're gonna make it out of the atmosphere now at least. lost one of the fins in that collision. Okay, hopefully we've got the delta V to make this. It's going to get to when we're closer to our upper apis, and then we're just going to burn horizontal. Not an ideal orbital injection, but it will have to do. Right, we're out of the atmosphere now, so spec won't matter in terms of drag. Mostly I have noticed that we do have this orbital display down in the corner now, so I can get the upper and peri data here. It's a bit worried we didn't have that without Kerbal Engineer. It used to display it up here, but these will do. Now, to be completely honest, I did attempt this launch before. Everything went fine, got into orbit, and then I hit the wrong button on my joystick and doomed us all. I decided that I was going to redo that one. It was just a complete slip of the hand rather than any kind of real mistake on my part, just hand twitch. And so, not counting that, but just to be completely honest with all of you following along home, I did leave poor Gerald here in orbit. Alright, disconnect. Fire up next stage. Okay, Peri's nicely coming up. There we go. We have circularized, we are in orbit, thankfully. Okay, so let's collect scientific data here. It's just the Science Juniors, the only data that we've not brought back, I believe. Okay, now we're at periapis, so we can just reduce Apo, try and get us down for the entry. Gonna aim nice and high in the atmosphere. Where I was, I completely missed that. There you go. Gonna aim for 30,000 meters and save the rest of our fuel to do a braking burn once we start getting the heating effects. But let's keep our fingers crossed and hope for the best. So beginning to get heating effect now. We're just using the engine now to maintain stability. Yeah, we're passing compression heating phase. Right, jettison that. By the drogue boots. So coming in somewhere over the sea. Just brighten it up a little bit so it's not just a completely black image on YouTube. I'm going to deploy the remaining parachutes. It's going to slow us down far too much and cut the drogues at this point. There we go. Nicely parachuted down. Now just fast forward this until we hit the water. There we go. We actually made it down. Okay, got some more science. And very importantly, we got some money. So that's given us a little bit more wiggle room at least. Here are the winglets. So I could have got those. I'm going to get the advanced rocketry tech and flight control so we can have actually useful winglets. And I think we're just going to make some small adjustments to polish the coconut. And we've got a pair here that go really well together. Ferry of VIP, we can do that quite straightforwardly. And scientific data from space. So she just wants to go into orbit, and if we're in orbit we may as well grab some science, give us just a little bit of money, keep us ticking over. Of course the next big thing is exploring the moon. So we can play with some of the new parts we have. First things first, we've got an actual space stage here in the Terrier engine. Just comparing that in a vacuum, this gets 2,400 meters per second in our final stage as opposed to the old, it was an old Reliant we were using. Gave 1,800. So just by swapping that engine out, we're gaining almost another 500 delta V. And very importantly, now that we have the actual usable winglets, we can strap those on, giving us some actual control over this thing. So I've just swapped out our science unit for the crew return module. We do now have a huge amount of delta V. So there's actually enough to go to the moon, but I don't think I want to try that just yet. So Herald Kerman here is going to be going up into orbit with us, piloted by Jared. And just to throw caution to the wind, let's take Bob as well. Bob can get his orbit star when he's going around with everyone. Okay, so everything's set. Throttles at full. To avoid recontacting the boosters, I'm just going to go pure vertically until the booster stage is ejected, and then I'll turn over, and I'm probably going to try and go for a polar orbit, so I'll be turning over to the north. So let's see if we can actually manage this without killing everyone. Let's go. It's going to engage prograde hold for now. We're already getting some real oscillations here. Oh, I needed to strut this better. Alright, okay. Well, we learnt a lesson. Very important lesson. We need to start strutting things. I'm used to playing with a mod that made the connections a lot stronger, so you didn't have to strut absolutely everything. But yeah, we are not going to make it into orbit. Still going to burn it for now, see if we can at least make it into space. So we can at least get one of the missions, hopefully partially pay for this thing. So I'm going to put us in prograde hold for now. Okay, so we are in space. We just need to get any scientific data. Crew report will count. Yeah, I don't think we're quite going to circularize. There's a good effort at least. Yeah, we're re-entering the atmosphere now. That's fine, so we'll just be a suborbital hop here. It's going to let us burn. Retrograde. Yeah, there we go. That's that stage out. At least now I can do a surface retrograde hold. Yay. Out of the heating effects, out of atmospheric effect. Oh, just about to be out of the shock cone. There we go. Yay. Drogue chutes can come out. Main chutes can come out. I have no issue, so I'm just going to cut the drogue chutes. There we go. Splashdown. So we can recover the vessel. Okay, so we've got 3 grand for the VIP suborbital flight, 18 grand for getting data from space. So that version of the coconut costs 20 grand, so we did make a profit there just. But we're going to need to try that again, and I need to put on some more struts to hold this thing together. Again, just to give a little bit of cash on the second attempt on this mission, I've got this one just to test for a radial decoupler. I'm just whacking on a pair of those. We're going to decouple them immediately, putting on a pair just in case anything they leave behind. I want that to be symmetric. Okay, so I believe I've set up the auto struts correctly, so I've got various pieces along the main bulk of this attached to the root part. And then I've put in some auto struts between the midpoint here and the heaviest part, which are these boosters. So hopefully that'll keep this from wobbling all over the place. We'll just have to see. Otherwise, same idea as last time, but let's see if we can actually get into orbit. Okay, so part 1, nice and simple. Test the decouplers. Off they go. Mission accomplished. Got $4,000. Paid for a large chunk of this ship, so let's see if we can actually get into orbit. Gonna try going straight up again. Hopefully this won't wiggle so much. Let's just see how this goes. Definitely seems to be holding together a lot better. It's going to pitch slightly north just so the boosters don't come back right on the top of all of this. We're accelerating a bit, and then stage, and we successfully jettisoned those. Excellent. Okay, we've got an apoapis well over 100 kilometers now. So, rather strongly vertical jump. Looks like all of our booster stage is going to fall well away from the Space Center, so that's good. So again, this is not going to be an ideal entry. But hopefully we don't really need ideal. We have more than enough delta V. It's that stage, onto our final stage. Almost there, the circularization. There we go, we are now in orbit. Yeah, still over 1,000 delta V. Means with a bit of a better injection, this could probably have done a flyby to the moon. It doesn't take too much extra delta V to go from a Kerbal orbit to the moon. Only about 860, and you don't have to spend that twice if you just want to do a flyby. So I think that's going to be our goal for next time. But for now, let's just see if we can possibly land this thing without killing everyone. Okay, so quite nicely circularized. Just want to push our Harry to the South Pole. Aim for 35 kilometers. Hopefully that should do. Now let's just flip around to prograde, because that will be retrograde when we get on the far side. And SAS can go off. Watch the sunset over Kerbin, and we can do our very best to actually re-enter. Yeah, starting to get a significant amount of heating here. Just turned us pure retrograde. Right now it's predicted to be a very nice shallow entry, so hopefully we'll do fine. Yeah, I don't think we're going to land on the cap. I'm just going to jettison that so that we can slow down a bit quicker with less mass. We're going to land in the water, but that's fine. We don't have much scientific equipment anyway, so it's not the end of the world not landing on the pole. Alright, so very nicely there, we can just drift our way down, land, and then mission accomplished. Nice gentle touchdown. Well, Bob has been promoted, so has Hellrod, but she's just a tourist. We got $3,000 from that, 19 grand for doing everything she wanted, and we got 20 reputation, hopefully covering over some of our reputation losses from the whole murdering various tourists in the past. I think that's going to be the end of it for this week. I think next week's main goal is going to be this one, exploring the moon, so doing a moon flyby. I think we're pretty much ready to have a go at that as we stand, and that would get us nice 160 grand just from the subparts, another 150 from the reward as a total, so that can certainly push us forward. But that will have to wait till next time. So if you enjoyed this, please do like and or subscribe, and I hope to catch you in the next video. Until then, remember to be kind to yourself and everyone else. Cheers!